What we're going to talk about today is key number 6 to developing skill with rhetoric, which is understanding genre. Now let's start talking about that. Every act of writing and reading is embedded in a context, and we've talked about context before. Every writer writes to accomplish an aim, and every reader needs to discover that intention. So now we have context and we have intention. So what this means is every writer chooses to produce a certain type of text, which is a genre appropriate for the intention and the context. So let's delve into this a little bit deeper. Writers need to recognize the rich variety of genres that are available to choose from. Let's look at this example. The Retired Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, is sponsoring a partial scholarship in psychology or social work. And you know that these are two fields that you are considering as majors. So now you have an idea of the context. You have a motivation to write a letter of application. You have an incentive to produce a text. So that's part of our context. So let's say you're interested in this and you start doing some research on RSVP. And you find out that this organization places a strong emphasis on what it calls intergenerational volunteer work, which is projects that involve both senior citizens and younger citizens in community improvement. And then you remember that you and your grandmother volunteered to work together at a drop-in food pantry sponsored by a church in your neighborhood. So now you have an even bigger idea of the context because you've also added an area of interest to the people of RSVP. So now you have an intention. You need to persuade the scholarship committee at the local RSV chapter that you are an extremely deserving candidate for the scholarship. So now we have context and we have intention. In this context, with this intention, do you write a poem that shows your creativity with words and images? No. Do you write a scientific lab report about some aspect of aging and psychology? No, that's not what you do either. You write a courteous, convincing letter detailing your credentials as a student, showing your interest in the fields that the organization wants to support, and explaining your experiences with your grandmother that show how much you've already learned from intergenerational research and how much you think you can continue to learn. So keep this in mind. Understanding genre can boil down to a very simple equation. Context plus intention equals genre. Once you understand the context and you have an intention, it's easy to choose the genre that you should be writing in. To understand genre, you need to think creatively about it. How can I get my point across in the best possible way? You have to know the context. This is very important. And you have to consider your aim, your intention. Thinking about genre, knowing the context, considering your aim, is going to make your writing a lot better. This will allow you to choose the appropriate genre. As like in the example before, not a poem, not a report, but a letter explaining why you are a good candidate for the scholarship. When you understand genre, your writing is better. When you have a variety of genres from which to choose and you're adept at all of them, you will become a writer who can meet any challenge.